There are some seasons that don't make sense while you're standing in them. Some nights where the tears won't stop and the questions echo louder than any answer. You find yourself in pain, not just surface pain, but the kind that settles in your bones, breaks your rhythm, and leaves you wondering if you'll ever feel whole again. But what if I told you that pain wasn't the end of your story? What if I told you that pain didn't come to break you? It came to build you. You see, sometimes pain is the permission for transformation. It's the cracking open of everything familiar so God can pour something new into your life. Pain is uncomfortable, yes, but it is also purposeful. It doesn't always feel holy, but it often leads to healing. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? You start realizing this pain had a plan. That heartbreak, it exposed your boundaries. That betrayal, it revealed your worth. That delay, it protected your destiny. Pain isn't always the enemy. Sometimes it's the classroom where purpose gets taught, strength gets developed, and identity gets clarified. Accept it. You just have to be willing to let it teach you instead of just torment you. Don't curse the season that shaped you. Don't hide the scar that healed you. There's someone waiting on the other side. Your breakthrough, but they won't get there if you pretend like you never bled. What crushed you was never meant to be your ending. It was the contraction before something new was born in you. So I came to tell somebody it hurt, yes. It broke you, maybe. But it didn't stop you. You're still here. And that is proof that the pain wasn't final. It was foundational. The pain had a plan. And you're walking proof of it. Sometimes when life hurts, we automatically assume we've done something wrong, that the pain we're facing must be a punishment for past mistakes or broken choices. But pain isn't always a result of failure. Sometimes it's part of the process, a divine, intentional, uncomfortable process designed not to condemn you, but to transform you. What looks like suffering may actually be shaping. We live in a world that tells us that ease equals blessing and hardship means you're out of alignment. But that's not always truth. Some of the most powerful moments of growth come in the middle of your greatest ache. Pain often enters our lives like an unwanted guest, but it ends up cleaning house, removing what no longer serves our purpose, revealing what was hiding under the surface, and reordering our priorities. God doesn't waste pain. He uses it. He doesn't sit back and watch you suffer without a reason. If he allowed it, it must serve something. That doesn't mean he caused the trauma or approved the betrayal, but he will take the fire that tried to burn you and use it to refine you. The pain you're feeling may be uncomfortable, but it's not without intentionality. You see, punishment seeks to hurt. Process seeks to heal. Punishment shames. Process shapes. That's how you know the difference. When you're in a divine process, the pain will still sting, but it'll also strip away the things that were never meant to stay. It peels back the parts of you that performed, that settled, that tolerated too much, and reveals the version of you that's ready for the next level. Think about it. When a seed is buried, it might feel like a burial, but it's actually a planting. And before it can bloom, it has to break open. Pain is the breaking open of who you thought you were, so you can become who you were truly designed to be. It's the pressure that produces power, the crushing that makes the oil flow, the fire that makes the gold shine. But here's the truth many don't want to say out loud. Pain still hurts, even when it's part of God's plan. Faith doesn't make you numb. It just gives your pain purpose. It helps you see that this isn't where the story ends. It's where something begins. Every tear, every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer becomes material in God's hands to build something unshakable within you. If you run from the pain, you might miss the process. And if you skip the process, you'll be ill prepared for the promise. The pain is not meant to be permanent, but it is necessary to shake loose the identity that was never rooted in truth. Necessary to separate you from things that made you shrink. Necessary to pull out a depth of faith you didn't know you had. So the next time you feel pain creeping in, whisper to yourself, this isn't punishment, this is process. And in that truth, you'll find peace. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because now you know the pain had a plan. There are moments in life when something hits you so hard, it leaves you feeling shattered. A betrayal, a heartbreak, a loss, a disappointment, whatever it was, it felt like it broke you, like it fractured your identity and scattered your strength in pieces across the floor. The beautiful truth is this: sometimes what broke you wasn't meant to end you. It was the very thing God used to rebuild you stronger, deeper, wiser, and more whole. You see, some structures need to fall apart because they were never built to withstand the next level. That relationship, that mindset, that role you played to make everyone else comfortable. It wasn't built for your next. So when it broke, it made room for something real to be constructed. You thought you were falling apart, but heaven saw a foundation being cleared for something greater. Pain has a way of exposing what's fragile and false. It shows us what we thought was strength, but was really just survival. It shows us where we were hiding, where we were performing, where we were relying on something or someone more than we were relying on God. And when it breaks us, it builds us with truth in places we once had illusions. It fills the cracks with grace instead of grit. You are not the same person you were before the pain. And that's not a tragedy. It's a testament, because even though you walked through fire, you didn't come out smelling like smoke. You came out refined. The breaking made you more sensitive to God's voice, more alert to who deserves access, and more intentional with your time, your heart, and your voice. Think about it, the version of you that exists now is wiser. You don't fall for the same lies. You don't chase the same applause. You don't tolerate the same mistreatment. That's not just maturity. That's rebuilt strength. The heartbreak made you ask harder questions. The silence made you lean deeper into your faith. The loss made you appreciate what's sacred. Every crack let in light that you were too guarded to let shine before. And don't let the enemy trick you into thinking that just because you were broken, you're now damaged. No, you're developed. You didn't come out broken. You came out built. God has been gathering every broken piece, not to discard you, but to reconstruct you intentionally. He is the master builder, and he builds best with surrendered pieces. So when you look back at what broke you, don't only see the pain, see the process. See how God used it to strip away the counterfeit and anchor you in the authentic. That wound that once made you weep is now where your wisdom lives. That valley you thought would kill you became the place where your strength found its voice. You may have been broken, yes, but broken like soil is broken before a seed is planted. Broken like clay before it's shaped, broken like bread before it's shared. And in that breaking, God was building a version of you that could carry more, love deeper, and stand taller than ever before. We live in a world that teaches us to cover up what hurt us, to filter the flaws, to hide the history, to mask the moments that didn't go as planned. But your scars, they are not a sign of shame. They are evidence. Evidence that something tried to break you, and it failed. Evidence that you went through a storm, but you didn't drown. Scars don't say, I lost. They say, I lived. Scars are the places where pain and healing met, where you were wounded, but you didn't stay wounded. They are the markers of a war survived, of a season you didn't think you'd get out of a prayer that was whispered through tears and answered through grace. They are holy reminders, not of what hurt you, but of how far you've come. It's easy to look at your past and want to erase the parts that broke you. But healing isn't pretending it never happened. Healing is when you can point to the scar and say, this tried to take me out, but it didn't. It didn't steal your voice. It didn't take your calling. It didn't cancel your purpose. And now, what once bled is now a testimony, not a trauma. Sometimes the enemy wants you to be silent about your scars because he knows your scars carry power. They make you relatable. They give others permission to heal. I accepted, but you want to change. There's somebody watching your story who needs to know that healing is possible. And they won't believe it if all you ever show is perfection. There's deliverance in your transparency. There's breakthrough in your bravery. You don't have to be ashamed of what God brought you through. You're not less spiritual because you struggled. You're not disqualified because you doubted. Your scars don't discredit your anointing. They confirm it. They're the proof that God met you in your valley and walked you all the way back up the mountain. That kind of journey doesn't need to be hidden. It needs to be honored. Your scars might make some people uncomfortable, especially those who prefer the edited version of your story. But healing is messy, growth is gritty, and truth is sacred. So don't dim your light to fit their comfort. Don't shrink your story to fit their expectations. Wear your scars with courage, because you earned every one of them. Even Jesus didn't hide his scars. After the resurrection, he could have come back flawless, untouched by pain. But he chose to show his hands and his side. Why? Because scars speak. They validate the process. They prove the promise. They remind us that resurrection only comes after the crucifixion, and glory only follows grief. So don't you dare let shame silence your survival. Don't you dare let anyone tell you to cover up the evidence of your becoming. Your scars are sacred ground. They're not signs of weakness. They're signs of healing. They are your receipts that you were broken. But you didn't stay broken. You healed. You rose. And you're still here. We've been taught to believe that if something is delayed or denied, it must mean we missed it. That we weren't good enough, fast enough, spiritual enough. But sometimes what feels like rejection is actually God's redirection. The delay didn't deny your purpose. It just protected your path. It wasn't the enemy blocking you. It was heaven stepping and saying, not yet, not this, not that way. It's easy to grow discouraged when what you prayed for doesn't happen on your timeline. You start to question if God forgot you, if you did something wrong, if the promise passed you by. But the truth is, God is too faithful to give you something that could destroy you.